One of the things you touched on was, functional versus dysfunctional boards, and we've all seen both. In your experience, what kind of board composition is most effective? I don't know if think about board size, weighting of operators versus VCs and investors, but any color you have on, what helps boards be more functional versus less from at least a composition point of view would be interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that the diversity of, thought and skill set, right? I think so much of it is sort of looking around the table, kind of like you look at your executive team, right? Sort of, who's the team and how do you best complement each other against the backdrop, from a board of, how we can serve you. So I think about it like most companies start with sort of the founders, right? The VCs, and then as they as time passes, they're looking to bring on more domain experts, or they have a need for independence, for like a future public company role. So like people like me, I mean, everyone's going to need, sort of an audit committee chair. But beyond that, then it's sort of like, what does the company need in terms of, useful skills around the table beyond, the investor base. And frequently I see that as a, kind of been there, done that, serial CEO that's really, the founders and CEOs can use to really, get some guidance and input because they've seen the movie before. And that's super helpful. In the last few years, for sure, go to market and, who can back to like those natural friction points, right? There's the, like you said, the 0 to 10, the 10 to 50, the 50 to 100, 100 to, 500 million and beyond. Like, there's people that have been there, done that in that movie, in that CRO seat or any other seat around the table that can be useful in terms of showing and helping, especially founders that maybe haven't seen that movie before, understand, things that they might want to think about as they scale the business. So I think that those things are super important. And the chemistry is everything, because back to like this whole, you can look at, same with the CFO, right? You can look at all these people on paper and go, oh, they check all the boxes. But, until the times are tougher, especially, you don't really kind of know what you're necessarily dealing with in terms of, people's reactions and character under stress and all of that. So I think that chemistry is really important. And that's one of the reasons, like in the beginning of the question, I tend to work with companies where I feel like I'll have an insight into that because I'll know somebody around the table. But I think when founders and CEOs are making decisions about who to bring onto their board, really exploring that and making sure they feel like it's somebody that can be useful to them and the team, but they also think it's somebody that's not going to be, the dominant voice in the room, that's going to be able to listen really well and be constructive and collaborative, not that they're not going to roll over on everything. You want to have, discussions that are actually, challenging and valuable, but you don't want them to be, sort of dysfunctional and destructive.